eventually, have a good showing for Hang 10 car washes that jumped on board, and it was good, and hopefully we could do it again tomorrow.
Well, congratulations. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. If you have one, please raise your hand, and we will get to you as soon as we can. We'll come down here to Jordan, then Bob, and then back to Dalton.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. What was it like having Ryan Blaney as your spotter? Do you guys do any pre-race debriefs or anything?
No. No. Coleman obviously is my spotter on Sundays and does a great job, and he made a commitment to spot the whole year for the 17, and I wasn't gonna try to get in the middle of that as much as I wanted to have Coleman spot me. I had him spot me for the heat race because their heat races were in different ones, but we were talking. I was like, who do you think would be good? And we were joking around. I was like, well, how about Ryan Blaney? I was like, well, that would be a little different and fun. And I thought everyone in here would probably get a kick out of it. And I thought it would get our truck on TV more often, which was good. So I called him up. This was in Atlanta. And I called him up after we got done qualifying there, and I said, would you want to do it? And he was all in. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Because, but I never really spotted before. I've only done it a couple times, and the last time I did it, the guy wrecked. So I'm like, well, we can't do much worse. So no, he did a good job. Obviously, anytime you put a race car driver up there, which that's why a lot of the spotters used to be race car drivers. They understand what they're looking for as far as speed, and obviously Ryan knows what he wants to hear on the radio, which I typically want to hear a lot more than him. So I was trying to get him to keep talking more and more, which he was. And so we had some fun and some good laughs, and it all worked out.
Was there anything that he gave you advice-wise that you were able to kind of impart and use to help you tonight?
Yeah, the line-wise, he was able to see some things in 3 and 4 that, as a leader, you don't get to follow anybody and see. And Majeski was entering a little bit higher and being able to turn down across the track. And he did a good job explaining that to me and was able to adjust that line, and that made the difference a lot. That he was starting to close the gap on us speed-wise, and then that kind of made the difference for us.
Overall here at Bristol with this dirt race, would you like to see it continue being a dirt race in the spring, or would you like to see it go back to the concrete? And if you want to see it go back to the concrete, what are your thoughts on a dirt race on the Cup Series in general?
I think we're talking about one of the best racetracks we have on the circuit, and when it's concrete and when it's dirt. But I think there's a lot of other racetracks that can use an adjustment. Not Bristol, right? Bristol is just, to me, it's the best racetrack we got. Even when it's concrete, everyone can talk about how they want one way or the other. Everyone's going to complain about whatever they want to, but the bottom line is the racing is really entertaining for the race fans here, no matter what the surface is. There's some tracks that I'd much rather put dirt on because it puts on a lousy race. So I'll let you guys figure out which ones those are. But for me, I have a hard time touching something that was really good in concrete, but hey, you know what? It's pretty entertaining this way as well.
Go ahead, Bob.
Bob Parkhurst, Fox Sports. Were you planning on getting that many times to learn the new choose and seeing the choose drone?
It works pretty good. I actually wouldn't mind seeing that at every track. There's a lot of times, in almost all the races, where the choose box on the racetrack is really, really hard to see, especially as you come up to it. If there's a car in front of you, or if the track's really flat and it's not banked, you can't see it. It's so flat. That really pops out. You know exactly where it is. So that part's good. And everyone did a good job really picking their lane, making it really obvious of where to be. So it worked out. I thought it was cool. Worked great.
We'll hear it in the back, and then to Zach, and then to Lee.
Hi, Joey. Dylan Hawkins from FrontStretch.com. ThorSport had 3 trucks finish in the top 5 tonight. Can you just talk about what it's like working with those guys, and just why do you think they were just so fast tonight?
They were fast last year, too. I got my butt kicked by them last year, and I was like, man, I stink. But now I realize it wasn't me. Their trucks were so fast, and obviously we saw that again here today, that they just got a lot of speed. He got a lot of drive in it to be able to accelerate off the corners really, really well. whatever that is, I can't tell you, but it definitely, they were fast, and you've seen that in the heat races. Obviously, they did a good job making adjustments to their trucks from the last time they were here, right? Different tire, going to a radial tire, a lot less stagger without practice. It's obviously a guessing game there. But, they asked me what I wanted. I said, dude, you kicked my butt last year. Just put in whatever you had last year that beat me. No, I want that. And then, so they fine-tuned it from there. And after running a race, there's some adjustments that I'd like to make to the truck. But, that overall, obviously, it was plenty fast to make it happen tonight.
And second, this is another dirt race win for you in NASCAR. So you're getting pretty good at these. When can we expect you to make a World of Outlaws debut?
I don't know. I don't know. I would like to, right? Obviously, watching what Larson does and the highlight film from the other night with him and Davenport was awesome. Man, it looks like so much fun. But for me, everyone does things differently, and obviously that works for Larson. For me, I try to focus in on NASCAR the best I can. I show up to the racetrack, and I want to know everything that's going on my race team, in my race car, and why we're doing it. And I study really hard at that stuff, which keeps me out of the race car more than I want to be. But it seems to work on Sunday. Now, Kyle Larson does it the complete opposite way, right? I don't know if he knows a whole bunch about what's going on in his race car, but he's in the race car every single day, and it makes him really, really good. And, on Sunday, I'd argue the results are comparable. So more than one way to do it.
We'll go to Zach, then to Lee, to your left, Joey, and then over to Dustin.
Zach Stern, NASCAR.com. Joey, the restarts especially seemed to be where you really excelled. What was it about timing your restarts, using that outside line that really gave you the advantage?
Yeah, the outside lane was a big piece of it. I found a couple things inside the truck that's helping me as well. Kind of being the control car helps a lot when you can kind of go when you need to go and there's not much drive at all. It's funny how, Bristol, you can throw dirt on it and it can act very similar to what it does with concrete. I don't get it. I don't understand how you think the track would be completely different. But the way the lanes work on restarts and even as it goes along, it's very similar, surprisingly. I don't know how that happens, but it's been pretty consistent the last few years.
And then Ty Majeski finishes second. Obviously, your teammate for today, he's had a strong start to the season. But what did you see from him throughout the long runs? Did you notice him catching you at all? Did you notice him doing anything different as the more restarts that he got to restart alongside you?
Well, there was never a long run. I don't believe anything more than 15 or I don't know if we made 20 laps without a caution. I'm not sure. Definitely, maybe we did. But I thought with Ty, obviously he was fast in the heat race, starting in the back, finished second to us. He looked to be a little bit better than us in the heat race. He was able to find some speed in the 3, and that's when I was telling you earlier how Blaney kind of relayed that information to me.
We'll go to Lee and then over to Dustin.
Towards the end of the race, you told Blaney there's some guy on the backstretch giving you the double bird, and you were laughing about that. Does that fuel you to go, to even, not that you need incentive to run harder, but do you just find it comical or,
Oh, it's funny. And I want to let Blaney know that's what it's like to be me, because I don't think he gets flipped off a lot. I get flipped off a lot. So I wanted him to know that, you're kind of part of the team here. So in a way, he was getting flipped off too. In my mind, I don't think he actually was. I don't think that individual was smart enough to know that. But yeah, this guy was committed, very committed to flipping me off. Take the whole race, That's a lot of, the double, one on each side. I don't think he saw the race. He just was busy hating on me.
You've experienced that?
Oh yeah, happens all the time. Yeah, I get it all the time. I love the passion, though. I will say that. We have passionate race fans, and that's good, right? No matter what, you see it in sports all the time, and I think race fans are no different. They love who they love, and they hate who they hate. And, it seems sometimes I'm on the far extremes one way or the other. And so that's a good thing, right? And Earnhardt has said as long as they're making noise, that's a good thing. Well, at least they're making noise.
And I missed you in here early on, and I wanted to ask you, where is your Martinsville clock, and does the chime still go off on a regular basis?
Well, we're in the process of moving, so that kind of, and now it's in my office right now, and it hasn't been wound in a little bit. So, but it did for years. It sat right in the foyer, and my wife was committed to winding that thing. That was like her thing every Sunday night when we got home. She'd wind the clock for the week. She had like a routine of 5 or 6 things she wanted to do as soon as we got home. The Martinsville clock winding was one of them. So I'm sure it will be again here soon. But yeah, it's sitting in my office now at Clutch. Thanks.
And we'll come down here to Dustin, and we'll go to Deb.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Joey, you and other drivers have talked about, in regards to the question about the dirt, about how this is such a good track on concrete, and this is a track that you guys really like and everything. But obviously, dirt isn't put on this track if the fans respond the same way, and certainly there was a decrease in attendance, and it led the administration to looking at new ideas of trying to draw that fan base. So when you and other drivers talk about, hey, how great this track is under concrete, the sport's seen that before. So what needs to be done, whether it's messaging or kind of letting people know that what they had is better than what they've got when the sport looks toward what to do next year with this event?
Yeah, I don't know if I quite say like what they had is better than what they got. Okay. I think it's good both ways. Okay. I don't think we had to do something to make it better is what I'm trying to say. It was great before. I do think having a dirt race is cool, right, for our sport, right, to be the most versatile racing series in the world is pretty cool, right, and dirt racing is one part of that. That we were able to do. So as a driver, you got to just be so versatile through everything, like every discipline. And I love that challenge. So I wouldn't want to take a dirt race off the schedule. All I'm saying is Bristol's a great racetrack. Either way. And I could say we can maybe fit in a different one somewhere else and eliminate a race that may not be as good.
And in regards to that diversity, and I'm sure each championship is special for its own personal reasons, but because your second championship, I'm going to guess with the dirt track and the other events, probably a little bit more diverse schedule. Is that any more meaningful in that sense over the first one, just because of the diversity of tracks, diversity of what you had to go through? And I'm not trying to compare, hey, the first and the second, the first is they're all going to be both specials, but I'm just curious if the second one, because of that diversity, if it adds anything or means anything in a different way than the first one for you.
Yeah, but the only thing that's different really is just adding the dirt race. Outside of that, the biggest thing I think from the first to second one is just the next gen car. It being the first year at the next gen kind of made that one pretty special. But it's hard to beat the first one, right? Like the emotions of your first championship is just it's memories I'll remember forever. There's nothing that's comparable to it, right? I mean, there's different categories of awesome, right? Whether when you get married or when you have kids and all that, but in competition, it's like a different category, and equally as awesome, but in its own separate way.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll go right next to you to Deb.
Thank you. Deb Williams, Auto Week. Joy, and back to that fan. Several years ago, you'll get a kick out of this.
You guys got a lot of attention.
Well, no, let me explain to you why. You'll get a kick out of this. Several years ago at Talladega, when they had the grandstand on the backstretch, there was a fan that kept flipping Davey Allison off every time he went by. So finally, Davey had enough of it, and he flipped the fan off as he went by, and it shocked the fan so badly that he saw him. He fell off the fence. So my question is, have you ever flipped one back?
I have not. Maybe because I just think it's funny at this point. I don't really care that much. You know, it's kind of like people would get on social media and want to talk, right, and just want to go at it. Whatever. I don't know. I got more important things to do at the moment, so I don't really get in the middle of it. But like I said, I love the passion. I love that they care. That's why they're here, right? It's because they care. And we got to keep people caring and have that passion. But, oh, well.
Go ahead.
Down the highway? That happens sometimes, too.
We're going to stay back to your right over there.
Kyle McFadden from Flow Racing. Joey, back to your Cup Heat race here today when you were racing Jonathan Davenport.
Yeah, I'm watching a bit of it right now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. What impressed you, I guess, about him with he has no Cup experience, and for him to, race you clean and to hold you off there, was there like anything that
I know we were so close.
impressed you?
I really wanted to beat him because that's in a heat race. One spot's worth, who knows, 4 to 5 spots if we beat him. So we were close there, but yeah, I mean, Davenport's been racing forever. We used to race each other in Legends cars, I don't know, 100 years ago, it seems like, but a lot. We used to race each other every week. We've obviously taken completely different paths. We were talking about it today after the heat race. As we were talking, and I said, "Man, it's kind of cool that it comes full circle." And he said, "Yeah, we went completely different paths to get here, but it's neat to be racing each other again." I never really thought I'd race him again. And obviously, he's a tremendous race car driver, especially in late models and on dirt. And no surprise that he picked up on it pretty quickly. Obviously, it's a lot different than a late model, and the rear end's not moving 2 feet, and all that. But it's obviously he knows what to look for and knows how to do it, and he's able to move up top there and find a little bit of speed there towards the end of the heat.
We're going to go to Dustin here in the middle.
Dustin Albino, J-Ski. Joey, kind of off that, you made a few positions up in the qualifying heat earlier today. How do you feel about your car for tomorrow?
Yeah, we were a little bit too tight in the heat race. I couldn't get it to rotate, and I was needing to horse it too much to get it to pivot. And then I was trying to pass cars and lost spots, so I just had to regroup and change it. But I think we'll be fine. We just got to adjust the balance a little bit.
And then I'm doing a story on Coleman, and you brought up Coleman earlier. What do you feel like makes you guys so successful? Obviously being friends off the track as well, but why are you guys so good together?
A lot. For one, his racing IQ is ridiculously high. He's very, very smart when it comes to racing and understanding what's about to happen and why they're doing it, and giving me information before it's happening. Whether that's Speedway racing, if it's here, if it's really anywhere, his racing IQ is just ridiculous. When you add that on top of the relationship that we have, right, growing up together, and still being best friends. Shoot, we stayed at his house last night in Asheville, and my kids were over there hanging out with my wife most of the day. And I rode over here with them today. So the relationship that we have is very unique and easy to kind of know what each other's thinking. And when you have that thought of him knowing what I need to hear, he's just able to give me precise, quick information. Oh man, I was so excited. That was the best. I told him afterwards I was up there, and of course I talk crap to all the other spotters. So I'm just having fun, but afterwards I'm so excited for him to win because it's the first time he was in a car in Lord knows how long, and the way it came down to the end is a green-white checker, and there's a little rubbing and bumping going on, and I was so excited afterwards. I'm cheering and trying to give people high fives, but all there was other spotters. They didn't really give me a high five. So I was almost as excited as we were from Phoenix to see him win. And I know he always wanted to win a late model race in front of his kids. And that was the first time he was able to do that, so it was cool. Yep.
Are there any final questions for Joey? All right. Congratulations, Joey.
All right.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.